Good morning, myself Chandana. I am from CSC department. Today I want to tell problem on multinomial theorem. Topics: what is multinomial theorem? Example, problem, conclusion. See, multinomial theorem. For any positive integer m and any non-negative integer n, the multinomial theorem describes how sum with m lengths expands when raised to the nth power. Expansion is x1 plus x2 plus and so on xm whole power n equal to summation k1 plus k2 plus k3 and so on km is equals to n factorial by k1 k2 and so on km x1 power k1 into x2 power k2 and so on xm power km, where n k1 k2 and so on km is n factorial by k1 factorial into k2 factorial into and so on km factorial. Is a multinomial coefficient. This can be provided by the slider method. The sum is taken over all combinations of non-negative integers indicates k1 through km such that the sum of all k1 is n. That is, for each term in the expansion, the exponents of the xi must add up to a power n power 1 to a. In the case m is equals to 2, this statement reduced to that of the binomial theorem. Example: the third power of the terminal a plus b plus c is given by a plus b plus c whole cube equal to a cube plus b cube plus c cube plus 3a square b plus 3a square c plus 3b square a plus 3b square c plus 3c square a plus 3c square b plus 6abc. This can be computed by hand using the distributive property of multiplication over addition and combining like terms, but it can also be done perhaps more easily with the multinomial theorem. It is possible to read all the multinomial coefficient from the term by using the multinomial coefficient formula. For example, a square b power 0 c power 1 has coefficient 3 by 2 0 1. 3 factorial by 2 factorial into 0 factorial into 1 factorial. 3 factorial means 3 into 2 into 1 by 2 factorial means 2 into 1. So, if you calculate, we will get 3 a power 1 b power 1 c power 1. Has coefficient 3 factorial by 1 factorial 1 factorial 1 factorial, that 6 and so on. Now, we will take one problem. The problem is find out the coefficient of a square b cube c square d power 5 in the expansion of a plus 2b minus 3c plus 2b plus 5 whole power 16 using multinomial theorem. Let's see how we will use multinomial theorem for a given problem step by step. See, to determine the coefficient of a square b cube c square d power 5 in the expansion of a plus 2b minus 3c plus 2d plus 5 whole power 16, we use the multinomial theorem. Now only we learn the statement of the multinomial theorem. What is the statement of the multinomial theorem? x1 plus x2 plus and so on xn whole power n is equals to summation of k1 plus k2 and so on km equal to n factorial by k1 factorial k2 factorial and so on km factorial into x1 power k1 into x2 power k2 and so on xm whole power km. In our case, see here, in the place of compare the equation and the given problem. In the let's take x1 x2 x3, the equation as a plus 2b minus 3c plus 2d plus 5. In place of x1 what we have a, in place of x2 2b, in place of x3 minus 3c, in place of x4 2d, in place of x5 5. In our case, x1 equal to a1, x2 is equals to 2b, x3 is equals to minus 3c, x4 is equals to 2d, and x5 is equals to 5. Now we need to find the term where k1 equal to 2, k2 equal to 3, k3 is equals to 2, k4 equal to 5, and k5 is equals to 4. By simplification, we will get k values. Since here, what are the variable coefficients 2, 3, 5, 4. If we add totally, we will get 16. So now corresponding term in this expansion. So we are taking corresponding terms in the given expression. See, so how much we got? 16. So n, what is the n value? 16. So 16 factorial by what is the value of k value? K1 2 factorial, k2 3 factorial, k4 k4 5 factorial, and k5 5 factorial. On a square, x1 power k1, right? So x1, what is the value of x1? A. K1 2, x2 2b power cube minus 3 whole square, 2d whole power 5, and 5 power 4. First we calculate each part of the term separately. First we have to find b. So 2b cube is equals to 8b cube minus 3 square is equals to 9c square, 2d power 5 is equals to 32, d power 5, and 5 power 4 is equals to 625. So now substitute this back into the term. So 16 factorial by 2 factorial, 3 factorial, 2 factorial, 5 factorial, 4 factorial, a square, 8b cube, 9c square, 32d power 5, and 625. Now we will calculate the multinomial coefficient. The 16 factorial is 209227898800 by 2 factorial means 26212024, and totally if we calculate we will get 3027025. Now we multiply this by the other factors, where if we multiply, first calculate 8 into 9 72 into 32, and totally finally we will multiply, we will get 4357956000000. So the coefficient of a square b cube c square d power 5 is 4357956000000. So now by using multinomial theorem, we find the coefficient of a square b cube c square d power 5. Thank you.